Democrats, man, doing the regular just Democrat thing right here.
For no reason whatsoever.
Nah, I'd fold. Me when I fold under literally zero pressure. That's my Democrats. Not these Democrats conservatives talking about that are going to take away the filibuster as soon as they get power back. It's the Democrats that fold are the Democrats I like.
Those are my Democrats, man. The Democrats that have all the leverage, all the public momentum at their side, on their side, wind at their back. Yeah. Folding for no reason whatsoever.
That's my party.
Dude.
That's my party right there. Those are the people I vote for.
Let's go. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Yeah, I would say it's a warm welcome, but it's not, frankly. It's really cold here in Michigan now, out of nowhere again. We got our first snow the other day, and you'd think that hell froze over because I feel like I'm living in hell.
Dude, it was an ill omen.
It was an ill omen.
I woke up yesterday morning, it was snowing. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. Lions won. Had to see Trump during the game.
More on that at the end.
Yeah, Lions still won bigly. And then when I fucking stopped watching the Lions game, I found out my Democrats are folding for no reason.
The gales of November just turned gloomy, and that's what's going on. Like, come on,
man. And this episode initially was going to be about how Trump is trying to steal Christmas.
Yeah,
it was going to be just a treatise against Donald Trump. I was going to be going out to bat for the Democratic strategy, and now it has to be about how my Democrats fucking fumbled.
It has to be how my Democrats were my Democrats. Same old shit, man.
Derogatory.
Oh my god.
Anyways, before we get into this talk about the shutdown and how Democrats folded, I'll remind you all, if you want early access to all of our content, become a patron. An episode like this, more important than ever to be a patron.
Oh, absolutely, because who knows, maybe everything will have changed by the time that this gets posted.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an actively developing story. I think Senate just got in session like 2 hours ago.
Yeah. And the House still, of course, has to pass the bill. Donald Trump has to sign it into law. So we're by no means done with this, but there was a key capitulation, which we will break down. And you'll want to be on Patreon to hear all of our episodes before everybody else in a timely manner.
Exactly, especially in a time like this where everything changes all the time.
Yeah, and I'll also ask you all to consider subscribing to the Substack.
The Substack is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. We got 2 stacks up right now.
By the time you hear this, probably 3.
Probably 3, with many more to come.
Exactly. So consider becoming a subscriber on Substack. It is completely free for the regular newsletter.
And it is infinitely more shareable than this show.
Infinitely more shareable, that's right. We'll probably be like attaching some video components to the articles that we write as well, if we talk about it during the show and stuff like that. But consider becoming a subscriber. It's completely free. And if you want to help support independent media, you can set up a recurring monthly donation to the page,
which would be greatly appreciated.
That's right. You can also get some Hito merch. You can get 40% off Ground News. All that is down there in the description. And lastly, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple. We've only got one today.
Ridiculous.
This one from Thognack Brofist, keeping me informed without sending me
Skyrim player name.
Hell yeah, bro's a Nord. Skyrim is for the Nords, brother. Keeping me informed without sending me into a doomer spiral. I condemn political violence. I condemn Hamas. Been listening since 2021.
Let's go.
When I found the boys on TikTok and am just now finally leaving my Wednesday weenie status behind. They've been consistent with excellent takes, and it's been a pleasure watching them evolve and grow as a show. Hell yeah. We did have 2 bangers last week. I'll say that.
We did absolutely have 2 bangers next week. There's high hopes for this next clip we post.
We were riding the high of a massive Democratic blue wave in the election. And I thought, oh my God, this is our moment. Momentum is behind us. We can do this. Politics is all about inertia. And then my Democrats showed up.
Same old Democrats, man. Come on.
And that is the story we are starting off with today. It's really the main story because the Democratic Party caved.
Yeah.
And I do say the Democratic Party because it was specifically 8 individuals. But as we'll talk about, I think it is entirely valid to blame the Democratic Party here because there is a deep rot within the party that requires us to constantly cede ground to the small group of people that are moderates and hold basically all of the money and power. And then, of course, there's like rotating villains and stuff like that. But it's like the fact that these people will essentially face no consequences for what they've done, completely giving up the only bit of leverage that Democrats have had the entire year, to me, indicts the party as a whole.
Absolutely. And I think that's also an important perspective to have because that's how voters feel.
Yeah.
Most people do not pay attention to what individual senators do when they do or don't vote. They look at, all the Democrats voted this down. The Democrats voted for this. The Democrats got this done. The Democrats didn't get this done. And that's kind of what happened. So especially when like what 8 people, that's like what almost 20% of the caucus decide to break rank and do something that sucks bigly.
Yeah,
I think it does reflect on the party. I think it reflects on leadership specifically Chuck Schumer, who's a little more involved than he's pretending to be.
Yeah, it's just like only the Democratic Party could clean sweep an election and then decide less than a week later it's time to abandon all of our leverage. We should give up completely. We just had a massive win. Again, public opinion on our side. Wind is at our back. Let's capitulate for no reason and win nothing.
It's not like when you say wind is at our back and public opinion's on our side, it's not even just that like people are excited about Democrats right now considering elections. It's that literally the polling is saying that the majority of Americans are blaming Trump and the Republicans for the shutdown.
I just can't express enough how they were at like the height of their strength. The election demonstrated that people are on the side of Democrats here, and they conceded for nothing. Yeah. They got nothing in return. It genuinely baffles my mind. Every time I think the centrist wing of the party can't surprise me, cannot be more useless in my eyes, they one up themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't fucking fathom how they thought this was a good idea.
No,
and it is like it's not incompetence, right? Like I'm sort of saying that they're useless, they don't know what they're doing. It's malicious. It's malice at this point. It's got to be malice. They have to be purposefully doing. There's no other explanation for this. This cannot be explained away by they're just bad at doing politics. They got to be doing this on purpose.
I don't know, man. I wonder if they really are just that bad at doing politics, in that they are so genuinely out of touch, and it's that like. They don't want to fight for anything. I think that's what the crux of this is like to be a centrist is to be somebody who just permanently sits on the fence and never wants to take a stand, and they never want to take a stand to fight against anything. They want to sit here and just like, I don't know, guess about where voters are, guess about what's going on, like, and maybe like, just like for me personally as well, when I'm trying to preempt these discussions and think about the shutdown and think about like genuinely what's happening with SNAP funding, which more on that later, the SNAP benefits, the airline stuff, federal workers not being paid for like 40 fucking days now. Yeah. I do sit here and wonder like, all right, I'm a podcaster. Yeah. Like I'm a podcaster. I'm sitting at a place of privilege. It's infinitely easier for me to say that the Democrats need to continue this fight when I'm not a person that's suffering from reduced SNAP benefits or a job loss because of the shutdown, reductions in forces, layoffs, furloughs, whatever it is. But also, there is genuinely so much at stake here. Yeah. And so when I think about that, I think about like, okay, maybe that's where these 8 centrist Democrats are coming from. Maybe that's where the 8 people that broke rank are coming from. They're scared of the actual pain that people are on SNAP are going to face. The 42 million Americans that do that. The federal workers. What's going to happen? But it's like, they don't do anything outside of this to fight for them. Fighting for healthcare is fighting for a lot of those people too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of overlap when it comes to these programs. Yeah. And the GOP has proven that any chance they get, they will come for all of these programs. We're fighting right now about ACA subsidies, right? We were fighting, we didn't really fight that much, but we were fighting back in July over Medicaid. ACA subsidies still kind of, because they didn't get extended. SNAP got cut in that same bill. So many of these things are constantly on the chopping block all the time. You got to take a stand, because it's not just about the pain that's going to be felt immediately, like during the government shutdown, because pain will be felt, and that sucks, and that is awful for a lot of people, the 42 million Americans that are on SNAP. But pain will continue to be felt, because the policy of this administration is not principled. It's not doing anything to actually like foster public good. It's doing things to hurt people. It's doing things to take social programs away from people so that they can give more tax breaks to the 1%. It's not just about what's happening right now. Yes, people are suffering because of the shutdown. People will continue to suffer because of Trump's government. It's what we were talking about when we were talking about the initial whether or not Democrats would vote for a shutdown before the big, beautiful bill. This government sucks so bad, maybe it shouldn't function.
No, yeah, exactly. The central thesis of this shutdown was we're going to pick a fight. We, the Democrats, are going to pick a fight over healthcare subsidies because we think they're important and because there's a bunch of other shit the Trump administration is doing, but this is a fight that we think that we can actually win. There's a chance here to claw back some of the basics that the GOP has taken away and prove to our voters that we can actually fight. There's no outcome, even if Democrats win, right, the ACA subsidy fight, there's no outcome where people aren't still suffering because, like you said, the Republicans are in charge.
Yeah.
And the only thing they like to do is cause more death and suffering. That's like,
basically,
they
dude.
love starving children. It's their favorite thing to do. It is their North Star. It is what they aspire to being. Starvers of children.
Trump literally put his name behind starving children this week.
Yes.
On Friday, he went to fight at the Supreme Court whether or not they should have to pay out SNAP benefits because he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because he thought he could use SNAP benefits to get one over on the Democrats.
Yeah, the point is that regardless of the outcome, people are always going to suffer. The only outcome that would land us in a position where the least amount of people are suffering is Democrats winning on these ACA subsidies. Now Democrats have essentially what they've done. The shutdown's not done over. The House still has to vote on it, as we said. But now essentially what Democrats have done, these 8 Democrats, is expose the country to a prolonged period of a government shutdown for no reason whatsoever. Because they're about to lose the subsidy fight, right?
You have to get something.
Well, we're about to lose the subsidy fight. Those subsidies aren't going to go back into place. Like you said, there's tons of overlap when it comes to these programs, especially the ACA and SNAP, both of which are means tested. And so you think people aren't going to go hungry when their premiums jump 200%?
Yeah.
Like, what are we? We did this for no reason.
Well, when I was reading before this too, in 2022 at least, KFF did an analysis. There were like 500,000 people who were on SNAP and on ACA marketplace plans, and there is a whole hell of a lot of overlap between people on SNAP and on Medicaid.
Of course.
And I know that this government shutdown fight isn't about Medicaid funding, Medicare funding, SNAP funding specifically. But that's what the One Big Beautiful Bill was about. The One Big Beautiful Bill did cut those programs, did make things worse, and expansion states were like a crucial part of that. There's a lot of interplay between what ACA subsidies are and the broader social safety net in this country and what has already been gutted from it.
Yeah.
And we were trying to just fix one little thing, and you decided that you would take the stand. You decided that you would take this and make this the longest shutdown in American history, only to not get anything for it in the end? Mm-hmm. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man.
Just to give up completely again at the peak of your strength.
These people were already put through pain, and it's like, I do understand the idea that like maybe you're sitting there and you're thinking like, oh God, am I putting these people who are on SNAP through pain by keeping the shutdown going, yada, 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 and whatnot. But it's like, ultimately, that's not on you.
Yeah, no,
it's
Trump.
on the Trump administration. You are fighting for something good, and Trump is fighting for something evil.
Like, fundamentally, it's rewarding the hostage taker, right?
Exactly.
Like, as long as he does something that is sufficiently evil, he can get you to stop whatever strategy you're engaging in, even if it's to stop what you view as like a lesser harm.
And like the response from these 8 centrist Democrats has just been insane. Mm-hmm. I for lack of a better term, I can't even begin to reach into the mind of a centrist Democrat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's horrible.
And before we get into these statements, we should say who these people are.
Yes.
So as we said, a group of 8 centrist Democrats caved and advanced a funding bill in the Senate. As of right now, they've broken through cloture, which means they have ended the filibuster. I'm guessing today they're probably going to pass the final version of this bill.
They should be in session right now.
They only need 50 votes at this point anyway because they overcame the filibuster. So like it's a done deal in the Senate at the very least. Who knows what the House is going to do? But the senators that voted in favor of ending the shutdown are Senators Maggie Hassan, Tim Kaine, Catherine Cortez Masto, Dick Durbin, John Fetterman, Angus King, Jackie Rosen, and Jeanine Shaheen. That is 8 Democrats. That is exactly what they needed. I believe it got to exactly 60 votes.
It did. Conveniently, none of these people are up for re-election in 2026, and 2 of them are retiring. Mm-hmm. These are people who will not be held accountable for any of their actions that they take right now.
Yep. People are going to forget by the time they're up for a re-election, and as you said, some of them are just not even running.
That's insane. Yeah. That's actually despicable.
Like, again, I don't buy into like the controlled opposition theories or even like rotating villain. Like they feel a little bit too conspiratorial for me. But when you see shit like this, how can you not think like, oh, they're doing this on purpose?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Like, it's so hard to believe that this is just incompetence or this is what they actually believe in when it's like so perfectly planned like this.
Especially like people like Maggie Hassan who are just always in the way.
Yeah.
Always in the way of like good things. Voted down $15 minimum wage, voted down this. Like, what have you voted for at this point, man? I swear to God, it's so fundamentally frustrating. And I think that 8 number is important too, because if you notice, if you pay attention to Congress, if you pay attention to the Senate, the margins are 47 Democrats, 53 Republicans. Mm-hmm. They're only supposed to need 7 to break cloture. They got 8 because Rand Paul voted no. Mm-hmm. Rand Paul voted no. So they got an extra Democrat Because.
Yeah, I wonder why he voted no.
Something about like he wanted something about hemp. Oh. I don't know exactly what it is, but he wanted something about like hemp in Kentucky.
Well, I mean,
it was just an aside. I think the more important part is that Rand Paul voted no, increasing the amount of senators, Democratic senators that would need to cave. And the Democratic senators conveniently got to 8 when originally they like only needed 7. Mm-hmm. Like, come on. I personally think that that's a little bit fishy. Yeah. Personally, I think that that's leadership coming together and being like, all right, which 8 of you want to go? Because I know more of us want to open this, but which 8 of you are willing to take the fall?
Yeah, no, and I think Maggie Hassan was on Fox News of all places this morning, and she said that Chuck Schumer knew about this deal the whole time. So it's like, and Chuck Schumer actually did vote no, right? Chuck Schumer's name was not on this list, but he knew about it the entire time. And if it is the party position in the Senate and, you know, in Congress broadly, if it's the party position to maintain the shutdown so that we can get those ACA subsidies back, Chuck Schumer utterly fucking failed.
Yeah.
He could not keep his coalition together, and he let these 8 Democrats give up, again, the only leverage Democrats have had the entire year.
Yeah. This is the only thing you can do, dog. You don't own any chamber of any part of government anywhere.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that you can do, and you fucking caved, and now you will do nothing until like January. But fucking whatever. While we're talking about Maggie Hassan, I want to read a statement from Maggie Hassan. She said, now is the time for Republicans to engage in, quote, serious bipartisan negotiations to extend the expiring health insurance subsidies. Brother, that was the point of the shutdown.
That was the whole point of the shutdown.
That was the actual just point of the shutdown, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. The other senator on this list that really gets me is Tim Kaine. Because Tim Kaine votes to end the government shutdown. Tim Kaine is a senator from Virginia. Virginia is the same state that a week ago voted for Jay Jones. For Jay Walk 'em Down Jones.
Jay Walk 'em Down Jones, precisely.
What are we talking
Jay
about?
Jay Dark Woke Jones.
Like, what you do, like, take the hint, man. They want you to fight back. It doesn't make sense.
It's ridiculous. And just like this Maggie Hassan, like bipartisan thing. What do you mean now is the time to engage in serious bipartisan negotiations? Motherfucker, the time to negotiate is when you have leverage. Mm-hmm. You don't just give everything up and then say, okay, now negotiate with me. Because they're going to stiff arm your dumb ass.
Well, and the shutdown fundamentally like wasn't supposed to be like a bipartisan good faith negotiations. It was an attempt to force the Republicans to capitulate because they had no other option, right?
It's a fight. It's like a knockdown, drag out situation. And you're just like, oh no, guys, I'm calling timeout.
So specifically this deal, a couple of things are included in it. One, it's the passage of a clean continuing resolution to January. This means the government is open until they have to once again agree on funding in January. It's a reinstatement of federal workers and back pay, which already was going to happen. And then, and this is the best part, it is a promise for a vote on ACA subsidies in December. Yeah. They have promised in legislation to schedule a vote.
Yeah.
That's it.
What the fuck, man? What the hell are we talking about? They're not going to vote for it.
Yeah.
They don't want this thing to happen. What does it matter if we are promising a vote?
Yeah, and you all might remember a couple of weeks ago, we covered it when John Thune said, we've offered a deal to vote after the shutdown is done, and we made fun of that.
Yeah, because like, we were like,
that's fucking stupid. No way my Democrats will ever go for it. A couple weeks later, here they are.
My Democrats said, okay, yeah, we've just stalled.
What Democrats have done here is fundamentally undermine what the message of the shutdown was. Mm-hmm. So many Democrats, even Hakeem Jeffries, when you've lost Hakeem Jeffries, I mean, come on.
No, shouts out Hakeem Jeffries for actually doing the right thing this whole time.
So many Democrats, specifically in the House of Representatives, because Mike Johnson told them we're not working. So many House Democrats had been working so hard to explain to people and to the media that this was Trump's shutdown because all he has to do was reinstate basic healthcare subsidies that were there a year ago. And what the senators have done is said from the beginning that was never our intention. Let's reopen the government now and take a deal that was on the table 3 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You have said that fundamentally the government shutdown was a waste of time and meant nothing, and we hurt people for no reason.
You could have guaranteed this vote before a shutdown even happened.
Yeah,
they would have given you this vote to avoid the shutdown because surprise, surprise, all 53 of them are going to vote no. And then even bigger surprise, it's not a surprise at all actually, is Mike Johnson saying, I'm not going to fucking bring that to the House. He said, get shit on, dumbass.
Yeah, no.
Like, come on. And that's all we do is get shit on.
On the floor of the Senate yesterday, Bernie said, like, this measure that they've promised to vote on could get 100 votes in the Senate. It's not going to go anywhere in the House. It doesn't matter. It is a completely meaningless and ineffective move that there's just no reason for it.
Yeah.
Just capitulation for no reason, for no payoff.
Yes. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe there's like a semblance of strategy here behind the scenes. Maybe I'm going to attempt to like theory craft for the Democrats and maybe possibly give them some credit, maybe, although they do not deserve it right now, because it's like what they did do is obviously they do a clean CR. They fund it to January, but they funded SNAP and I believe the Department of Veterans Affairs and another department and WIC throughout the year. So there's additional funding if they want to shut down the government again in January so that they wouldn't have to worry about the SNAP battle. They wouldn't have to worry about WIC. They wouldn't have to worry about a whole host of these other things that have been like sticking points throughout the shutdown. So it's like, what's their plan here? Just shut down the government again in January? Do they even have a fucking plan? I don't know. I don't trust my Democrats to have a plan on anything, but that's the only line that I can see. That's the only cope that I can engage in to say that maybe this isn't the worst possible thing in the world right now. Maybe they just want to restart the shutdown in January. But even then, it's like, is that more credit than is due?
But like, I think it is more credit than it's due. I don't think they deserve any fucking charitability here. But like, okay, so we've got SNAP funded, we got WIC funded. These like if the government does shut down again in January, these departments are funded and people aren't going to have to like rush to food banks that don't have the capacity to care for them. Okay, that's fine. But at that point, the premiums have already shot up. Yeah. Enrollment's already done. What is the shutdown about? Yeah. Like, people are already paying the premiums at that point. Because you've just cut off all momentum, and I don't even believe that they're going to be willing to shut it down again.
No, exactly. And the thing about premiums is, like, we covered this before we got to this point, before we got to the open enrollment period, is that, like, you do have until the end of open enrollment to correct this. Yeah. And then these insurers, the people who work through the ACA or like the ACA marketplace plans, can go through and then readjust premiums for people who have already been enrolled. Yeah. We talked about how states have those contingencies in plan. You could have taken this fight through December and it would have still been worth something. But now there's no fucking chance that these people's premiums are going to go down. And for reasons we're going to talk about later, that is disastrous. That may kill people.
And it's just like, nobody's willing to just put their dick on the table here, dude.
Oh, I'm saying
like, it's all balls,
no dick politics.
All balls and no dick, dude. Like, nobody's willing to put their dick on the table. Just unwilling to actually try and live with the consequences of your actions. Like, dude, we have to, like, people are going to suffer regardless. Republicans love suffering. We interrupt this episode of Head in the Office to humbly plead that you check out our Substack over on headintheoffice.substack.com. That's where you'll find tertiary news, our newsletter, which is completely free, by the way, where we offer think pieces and commentary throughout the week in written form, which makes it very easy to share with your friends. By subscribing, you'd be supporting independent media, and if you'd like a couple of extra features, well, there's some paid options in there too if you really want to support your favorite quirked up Midwest white boys. So head over to headintheoffice.substack.com, become a subscriber to Tertiary News, and we'll love you forever.
If we're going to attempt to try and like peek into the mind, to the absolute hellscape that is the mind of one of these 8 centrist Democrats, I have a quote I want to read you from CNN. Quote, behind the scenes, Senate Democrats who backed the deal to reopen the government say Trump's increasing opposition in recent days to extending the Obamacare subsidies forced them to change their position and accept a compromise to end an indefinite government shutdown, according to sources familiar with their thinking. Trump's increasing opposition in recent days. Trump has never like been pro this. You're just like allowing him to act like a toddler.
Yeah, no, he's resorted to calling for the end of the filibuster. If that's not like a weak position to be in, then I don't know. It was working. Yeah, like, that's the thing that gets me. The strategy was working.
Like, he was increasingly backing more and more and more and more unpopular things and having to dig his heels in the sand because he was on the back foot. And you're just going to, like, accept that his whiny bitch fits are, like, yeah, that's actually perfectly acceptable and fine, and we can just do that now? Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah, no, it's an abusive relationship. Like, fully, it's just an abusive relationship. Like, we have to let him, you have to let him yell at you constantly and throw threats at you, otherwise he'll hit you, and you should just behave. Like, it's crazy.
It's fundamentally ridiculous, but it gets even worse. From that same CNN article, the centrist Dems that cave, quote, believe that Democrats have an upper hand on the issue of health care, and that a separate healthcare vote will spotlight the difference between the two parties, even though it has little chance of becoming law, and they're not ruling out another shutdown in January when the next tranche of funding expires, though critical programs such as food aid and WIC will already be funded to lessen the pain for millions of Americans. This is a line, like the line about forcing the vote is a line I've seen from a lot of centrist types, like on Twitter specifically. Yeah. But I gotta wonder, does anybody care?
Nobody gives a shit.
Cares about whether or not you force somebody to vote no on something. Republicans got to vote no on all of the Build Back Better, the Biden infrastructure bill provisions, and then go and to their constituents brag about the funding that they secured them. Even though they voted no on the bills, nobody cares about how people vote anymore. No. It's not how we do politics in the modern day. People get to vote no on everything and take credit for everything no matter what. It's just something that doesn't matter. You can't do something. You can't take something with stakes like this and say, oh, but look, they voted no. I know I may have sold out all the people that are on ACA plans, but Republicans voted no for it, so please vote them out next year.
Well, it's just like I can already see the ad campaigns. It's going to be scary voice and like a dark background on the senator's face or the Republican's face or whatever, and it's going to be like, he voted no on ACA subsidies, and nobody's going to fucking care.
Nobody's even going
to remember that the government was shut down come next November. Nobody is going to care because they gave up so easily.
Yes.
Like 40 days in, we spent 40 days building up the messaging, building up the rhetoric, building up public support. Again, just to cave for no reason. And that's my Democrats.
It's my Democrats. And it's like, does trading the 22 million people who will see their premiums rise for a vote the GOP doesn't even care about really matter? For a vote that they are blatantly disrespecting you on? It is like disrespectful to go out there and be like, yeah, sure, we can fucking vote on it, whatever. You can vote on literally anything. You can vote on literally anything in the Senate. We'll vote on it. It doesn't matter. For Mike Johnson to say, I'm never bringing that to the floor ever.
Yeah.
That's what you caved for. You caved for the opportunity to say they voted no. Get with the fucking times, man.
That's again, it's another reason that I just like cannot believe that they actually think this is a good idea.
Yeah.
Like they gotta be lying to themselves. There's like, and I do believe that part of them like doesn't understand how to do politics in the modern era. That's definitely true. But for them to think that this means anything to anybody at all, they got to be evil.
That's what I'm saying.
It's got to be malice, dude.
Like, if you're gonna do that, like, stop pretending. Like, if it's seriously like the people losing Snap and the air traffic controllers and the flight delays and all that, that's why you caved on this issue. Come out and say that with your chest, because I can at least, as a human, understand where you came from. I can at least understand if you say like, I can't consciously vote to have people blah 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 with Snap because the Trump administration is doing whatnot. I can understand that position. I may not agree with it kind of politically, but I get where you're coming from. To say that, oh yeah, we're still gonna get this and we're doing the like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no, it's rough. I got another fantastic quote from Senator Shaheen here. She said, quote, "We stood up to President Trump for 40 days, and let's remember why we're in this position. It's because President Trump and Republicans in the Senate and House refused to fund health care to keep costs affordable." And of course, the part I left out there is her saying, so I caved completely.
Exactly. We stood up for Trump for 40 days and not a day longer and not a second longer, and I would not do anything
and
else.
It was for nothing. Sucks. We got nothing out of it.
We get a vote. A vote, dude. I swear to God, I've got another banger quote from Senator Shaheen right here. She was asked by a reporter, quote, "What do you say to your colleagues who say this isn't a fight, this is capitulation?" She said, quote, we have a guaranteed vote by a guaranteed date." The reporter then said, quote, "There is no guarantee that this will become law." And she said, quote, "There was never a guarantee this would become law." That's what you were supposed to be fighting for. That's what the shutdown fight was about. It was about the guarantee that these ACA subsidies would be extended at least throughout the next year.
Yeah.
That's what this whole thing was about. There was never a guarantee because you didn't go long enough to get them to cave. You caved. Like, fuck, man.
And again, I cannot emphasize enough. They caved when they were in a position of like maximal strength.
Yes.
Like they had just won bigly in the elections the past week, and then they gave up for no reason. Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. I God damn, dude. And it's just like, when it comes to like the broader electorate, when it comes to like Americans, when it comes to Republicans, Republicans will vote for other people suffering before their vote to help themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is very important to keep in mind when it comes to the ACA shutdown fight, when it comes to all this, and it comes to the narratives that we've seen. Most current ACA marketplace enrollees live in a state won by President Donald Trump in the 2024 election, or in a congressional district won by a Republican lawmaker. When will Republican voters like wake up to the fact that the GOP doesn't care about them? Mm-hmm. The GOP will sell them out to the 1% as soon as they gain power, and they will gain that power by getting you to feel like some other brown people should do it. It's like, GOP voters, I feel like some of them are too ignorant to like truly understand what they're voting for. But I think there is like a decent subsection of GOP voters who would sooner take away something from somebody else before voting to give something to them.
Yeah, that's a classic.
That's a GOP classic right there. And that's literally what we're seeing.
It's in the way that people talk about like Medicare for all, right? They always say, why should I pay for somebody else's health care? It's like fundamentally you already do and you pay more than you should.
Exactly.
And this would make it cheaper. But the idea that somebody they deem undesirable could benefit from a system that also benefits them is just unacceptable. And that's been true for like all of American history. That's always how a lot of conservative or right-wing voters have voted, on the basis of denying access to public programs for groups that they don't like, even if it hurts themselves. And it's crazy. And it's sort of the source of all of our problems.
It is, and it sucks really bad, and it sucks hugely. It sucks bigly, and it's like since 2021, enrollment in ACA marketplace plans has more than doubled, with growth almost entirely driven by consumers that are getting these enhanced tax credits that are now done now, with half of that growth coming from Texas, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, right? And I talk about public opinion in the American electorate and Republicans in the beginning here because of this. A KFF poll just before the shutdown indicated the majority of respondents from both parties supported extending the enhanced tax credits. But by about a month into the shutdown, that support shifted within Republicans, with more MAGA supporters saying that credits should expire. These people fundamentally like don't pay attention to like what's going on with policy.
Well, they bought the whole idea that Democrats shut down the government for illegals.
Exactly.
Like,
they bought the idea that Democrats are doing this to give illegal immigrants like health care and blah, 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 and whatever. And I bring that up to say that this is fundamentally a messaging issue. And when you have the government shut down for 40 days and you're the party with no power anywhere within the federal government, the shutdown is your biggest platform. The shutdown is your biggest opportunity to get out there and correct the record, because without you having that platform to go out there and message to people, the GOP is going to continue to run away with this narrative. And now those voters are so emboldened in thinking that because you fucking caved.
Yeah, because you caved. They're vindicated in that. And I think these numbers should be even more evidence that this idea that a scheduled vote in the future will somehow be a gotcha to Republicans is just complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Because their voters, the people in their base, believe that the government was shut down because you want to give health care to undocumented immigrants. That was never true. It's not in the bill that you were trying to propose. It's not in the bill that you were voting for. And they'll just say the opposite when it comes to your gotchas on this future vote that's going to happen. They'll just say, I voted against giving free health care to illegals. They're just going to lie.
And it's like half of these people that are on these ACA plans that are going to see their premiums skyrocket think that they're taking away Obamacare, not the ACA.
Yeah.
Like there's so much wrong with how this whole issue has been messaged for literally like a decade. This has been a massive buildup, and that's why we talk about messaging so often. Because this poll indicates that like messaging is what's driving people's policy. It's not actually like what's happening, blah, blah, blah. You have to be able to attach a material good with a message that sticks in people's minds.
It's vibes and inertia, man.
The material good is not like enough anymore. I contend that it's very important. It's probably the most important part, but like you gotta do the messaging to get people to fuck with that. You gotta do the messaging to get people to attribute that material good to you.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. It sucks so fucking bad.
My Democrats, baby.
My Democrats, dude. And it's like, do I need to remind them why this subsidy fight was so important? Because I will. From KFF, enrollees in their 50s and early 60s, that's not retirement age, by the way. These people are like working.
Not Medicare age either.
Not Medicare age. Who already pay a lot for coverage will have to shell out even more. An older couple making $85,000 a year could see their premiums skyrocket by more than $20,000 a year.
That's a fourth of your income.
That is unaffordable. That is untenable.
That's just premium.
And that's an increase.
Yeah.
That's not total. That's an increase on what you were already paying. That is fundamentally ridiculous. That is absurd. There's no healthcare system in the world where that should have to be acceptable. Yet that's what we have here because of the Republican Party, right? And I want to highlight this one story that I was reading on CNN because I think it's important to this idea that the Republicans are doing this and it will kill people. Yeah. It will hurt people. It will make people's lives worse in horrible and unimaginable ways. And it starts with this quote. I have fought this so hard, I want to live. That's a quote from Sunny Montgomery, a 63-year-old lung cancer patient. From CNN, quote, since 2022, she's undergone multiple rounds of chemotherapy and radiation, relying on her ACA Marketplace plan to cover the mounting costs. Thanks to enhanced subsidies, her premium this year was $541 a month. That's $541. Just manageable with Social Security, disability, and a part-time job. But next year, with those subsidies gone, she says her premium is set to soar to $1,758 a month. She said, quote, I have to face the reality that I'm probably going to become a late-stage cancer patient who's uninsured. I have fought this so hard, I want to live. Senate Democrats were literally fighting for people's lives with this shutdown. Oh my
God, dude.
And now they cave for the promise of a vote that they know will not pass and they know will not matter.
Yeah, no, it's I don't even know what else there is to say about these people.
Yeah.
Like, it is just, I feel like I'm just a broken record at this point. A completely meaningless capitulation with no payoff whatsoever. I just... Jesus fucking Christ, dog. And I've seen a lot of liberals saying that it was only 8 Democrats. You can't blame the entire party. I understand why people are mad. It was an absolutely bad move, but it's just 8 individuals that made a bad decision and tanked the leverage here. But I will say that these 8 Democrats were very clearly being enabled behind the scenes. As we said earlier, Senator Maggie Hassan was on Fox News, and she said that Chuck Schumer knew about this deal all along. And with that knowledge, we know that Chuck Schumer basically did nothing to stop it, or at the very least couldn't put a lid on his party to the extent that they could keep the shutdown going. Again, their only leverage they've had.
Which is just weak leadership all around.
A weak leadership, the only leverage they've had the entire year, this entire second Trump administration. But it's also like, when you have a party that includes 8 Democrats like this that are willing to give up all leverage for nothing, and you have the rest of the party that isn't willing to come out and say they need to be essentially excommunicated because they are doing absolutely nothing to represent their people, then it is the rest of the party that's complicit in what's going on. Like, there will be a couple of people. I think I saw Ro Khanna already said that Chuck Schumer should step down. He's not fit to be the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate. But where is everybody else whose efforts have been completely stifled by a group of centrists who were enabled by Chuck Schumer to end the thing they had been fighting to accomplish?
And it's just like, it sucks so fucking bad, man. And it's like, I said earlier, I was talking about, like, at least, like, stand on the idea that, like, if you as a human couldn't bear the idea that people are going to lose SNAP benefits, that so many people are going to suffer because of this, stand on that. And what I guess I mean by that is that, like, it pisses me off that they are pretending that they got anything out of this. Because they got nothing out of this. Of the senators that caved, they're saying that, like, oh, I fought to make sure that government employees that were laid off will be reinstated, or I fought to make sure that back pay would be secured for all the federal workers. Those were things that were already likely illegal. Those were things that were already going to happen. That's not a win. Stop fucking pretending you did anything. Just stand on why you actually did it. Just stand on the idea that you opened the government back up because of SNAP or whatever the fuck it was, and that you didn't have the political will to put that on Donald Trump, who ultimately bears the responsibility for this. Fuck, man. Stand on something.
But even that is, like, the role of the Democrats, the paradigm for the Democrats and the Republicans for literal decades at this point is that the Republicans are willing to press the big red button that destroys everything. And Democrats, feeling an obligation to at least keep the lights on, feel responsible enough to not let them do that, to at least manage the decline in such a way where the maximum amount of people don't die or suffer or lose benefits or whatever it may be. And this creates a scenario where Republicans can get in, do whatever they want, and Democrats will effectively bail them out or insulate them from the consequences of their actions. We gotta fucking stop, dude. Like, Republicans have to bear the brunt of the consequences they are, or the harm that they are inflicting upon the American people. We cannot be in a position where Democrats constantly bail Republicans out when it's their fault, right? The people losing SNAP benefits, the people that would have had their holiday plans interrupted, the people who had flights canceled, that is all the fault of the Republican Party. Democrats are not in a position to do anything about that.
And it's also, why is it that it's only ever Democrats that cave when people are about to suffer?
Yeah.
I think that speaks far more to the idea that the GOP is willing to literally go to the lowest of lows at whatever moment is possible as a party, every single person in there.
Yeah.
Just because. Like, it's only ever Democrats. Like, if we're accepting this idea that, like, they couldn't bear the thought of 42 million Americans losing SNAP, either because Trump doesn't want to pay out or just in December when contingency funds may have went out, why is that only a responsibility why is that only something that we have to consider Democrats considering?
Yeah.
I never in my mind does it, and never in anybody's mind is it like, oh, the GOP should vote to open the government so that people can get SNAP benefits. It's always these centrist Democrats need to break so they can do that, blah, blah, blah. The GOP owns this. The pain that happens is because of Trump, and Trump is not shy about that. Trump is actively, personally trying to increase the pain because he knows that these Democrats are going to cave. Make the GOP like do something good ever, and don't just let them get away with evil, because it's kind of like they're getting away with this, and it's like fucked. And I feel so genuinely conflicted about this because I do feel personally for the 42 million Americans on SNAP, but fuck, the GOP is just doing an evil thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, of course I feel for them, right? But again, it's the fault of the Republican Party. They're the ones doing it. And also it's like, I don't know, man. The only outcome where people aren't suffering is a Democratic victory on ACA subsidies.
Exactly. Like
that's the only outcome that would put the country in a position where people aren't losing healthcare and people aren't losing food benefits.
Yeah.
But people are losing healthcare, and Trump and the Republicans have, I guess, effectively used the potential starvation of millions of people as leverage to get Democrats to cave. Like, it worked.
You can't embolden the hostage thing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't let them get away with taking all these Americans as hostages. That sucks huge.
I hate commercials.
Me too.
I hate listening to them. I hate when I hear them, whether it's on TV or on podcasts.
Grr, I just can't stand commercials. Grr.
They're the worst. And the one place you can go to avoid commercials, like this one you're listening to right now, is patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Become a patron, and you get early access to our episodes, and they're all completely commercial free. No more interruptions.
And you could be one of our friends.
And that's arguably the more important point.
And, you know, in trying times like this, friendship is what we really need.
Friendship's really important. And you can buy your way into being a friend of ours by heading over to patreon.com/headintheofficepod. Again, early access to episodes, no commercials, access to all of our content before anyone else sees it. Become a patron. Now, you mentioned these 8 centrists essentially trying to spike the football, say this is a victory of some kind.
Yeah.
And to that, I raise you Tim Miller from The Bulwark. Okay. Tim Miller went so far as to say that this shutdown, Democrats won this shutdown.
Bro, ex-Republican ass. And what's going on?
I just think it's so delusional to say that Democrats giving Republicans everything they wanted 40 days ago is somehow a victory for the Democratic Party.
Tim Miller's an ex-Republican, isn't he?
Yeah.
What in the fucking Westworld kind of logic is this? Like,
I don't know.
Because that's honestly what I thought of when I heard these senators or even guys like that go and say, well, they're forcing the vote. They're going to make them put on a record that they didn't want the ACA subsidies. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, nobody gives a shit. And I think his argument was essentially that, like, Mike Johnson was never going to budge. The Republicans were never going to budge. But Democrats have succeeded in raising the profile of the healthcare issue so that more people are aware of what Republicans have done to the ACA.
I mean, the profile was going to be raised whether or not they shut the government or not when people's premiums went up in November on average, like what, double?
Yeah, everybody already was going to know. And by saying that, what you're essentially admitting is that Democrats actually do own this shutdown.
Yeah.
That the shutdown was the fault of the Democrats. And all they were doing was playing political games for 40 days, kicking people off their SNAP benefits, and furloughing a bunch of federal workers, making it so air traffic controllers weren't getting paid just to raise the profile of an issue. That is a catastrophic failure for the Democratic Party.
Like, it does feel like a political game. And honestly, I feel like the timing of this couldn't come at a worse time for whether or not this feels like Democrats are just playing politics. You can't like win an election and then have Trump be like shut down and then you just like open the government again without it looking like you shut down the government to win an election. Like, I'm sorry, but it's like this looks like you're just doing the politics thing that everybody hates. You gotta get something, man.
Yeah, and it's like the party doesn't even agree with him on this point, right?
Yeah, of course.
Democrats, the vast majority of Democrats here are against, or at the very least voted against. Many have come out vocally, but they've been against what the centrists have done here in conceding.
Shout out Mikey Sherrill. Last week when we shouted her out for doing the electricity bill rent free, she released a statement saying the centrist Democrats were doing something wrong here.
Yeah, no, and of course they were. A lot of Democrats are against this because, again, it fundamentally undermines what Democrats were trying to do this entire time, which is explain to people that the shutdown is Trump's fault because he won't negotiate on the basics of the ACA. And saying that this is somehow a Democrat win when the centrists have, again, undermined the project of the party, the one thing they've actually stood on this entire time, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's like looking back at least this entire year kind of is just the Democrats rolling over and letting the GOP take everything from you.
Yeah. Yeah, like just completely giving up, giving the Republicans exactly what they want. And this is why nobody fucks with the Democrats. Yeah. Like, if you can't fight this fight, why should we believe that you'll be able to do anything else for us? Like, if voters are looking at this and they're seeing a couple of people hijack the project, even if they're like tuned in enough to understand what's happening, they're looking at a couple of people hijack the entire process and Democrats be powerless to do anything about it. Why would they think, all right, I'm going to place my trust in this party? They clearly have, even if they have my best interests at heart, they're clearly going to be capable of defending me in the future.
Yeah.
Why would anybody think this? It makes arguing for even just harm reduction voting so much more difficult for people like us.
Because it's like, these people just stand in the way. It's like we were talking about with Joe Manchin like a couple episodes ago. Joe Manchin was just kind of there, and yes, he technically got us the majority in the Senate, but like, what did that majority get us? It got us not much.
Well, yeah, and to that point, like, 3 of the Democrats that betrayed the party and voted to end the government shutdown also voted against a $15 minimum wage 4 years ago. It is the same people that are consistently undermining momentum or outright stopping any project that would make the party more popular or stand up against the right wing. It's fucking insane. Like, the centrists in the Democratic Party, because the party is not held together by any set of central ideas, there is no way to advance a project or a movement that actually holds a coalition together. And if we want to go anywhere with this party, and in fact, if we want to defeat fascism moving forward, we cannot allow these people to stifle any and all progress or any and all momentum. It's just, it can't be allowed to continue. Yeah. This is going to be the death of us all. The centrists are going to be like, oh, well, they said they would negotiate as they march us towards facing the wall. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Like, this is why I say rigorous bipartisan negotiations is a dirty fucking evil sentence that should never be uttered by anyone else. And that's why we like go so hard on this like fake bipartisanship idea. Yeah. Nothing about getting that vote, nothing about the coming weeks before we have that mid-December vote is going to be bipartisan in any nature. It's going to be the Republicans continuing to stiff arm you and you being like, oh, fuck, like I'm trying really hard, though. While you're not doing anything. You're screaming into the fucking void.
It's fucking crazy, man. The Democrats are literally Spider-Man and Republicans are Venom, dude. In that dunking image. That's what I don't want to be. I want to be Venom. I don't want to be Spider-Man.
It's a perpetual state of just getting dunked on, getting shit on, dude.
I want to be Venom. I don't want to be Spider-Man.
I want to be Venom is the thing. I want to go crazy, but I can't.
Anyways, again, as we said, the House still has to vote on this. We'll see what happens. Maybe fucking everything changes by Wednesday and we have to delete the episode. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe like House Democrats somehow go and convince House Republicans to not pass the bill, and then we're like, oh.
Yeah, I hope you've appreciated our sort of disparate and all over the place thoughts, because this did just happen yesterday night.
Yeah, no, I was tweaking yesterday night trying to like come up with something at least coherent to talk about, and then this morning I'm sitting here like, fuck, man, like still honestly baffled at just like what transpired out of nowhere.
Yeah, literally out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever, for no payoff. Yeah, Democrats just gave up completely.
And I was trying so hard to like figure out like, okay, what concessions did they get? Because I'm reading articles talking about how they like got something here and got something there, and then what I read is just something that was already gonna happen. God,
absolutely
man.
Nothing whatsoever. I do think it's still useful to talk a little bit about what Trump has been doing at the very end of the shutdown. Although I guess it doesn't matter much anymore if the government's about to open again.
Yeah, but I think it still matters in the sense that Trump was going to just do something evil that he didn't have to do just because.
Yeah. So last Monday's episode, we talked about SNAP benefits, how they were kind of back, how we've been working towards a resolution. Trump acted like we should celebrate him for being forced to resolve an issue that he himself created. The latest development, pretty bad. Again, this might change with the if the government opens back up again. But on Friday, the Supreme Court, in a classic evil ruling, paused the requirement from a lower court requiring SNAP benefits to be paid out using contingency funding for the month of November. You all, of course, recall the federal judge saying like, hey, you can't do that. You got to pay it out. And then Trump said, I'd be honored. Supreme Court said, actually, you don't have to do that.
Trump said, I'd be honored. And then he said, we're going to pay out. And then he said, no, I'm not fucking paying out. I'm appealing this and taking it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah. And so that's already bad. The Supreme Court said you don't have to pay out. And from the AP, quote, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson issued an order late Friday pausing the requirement to distribute full SNAP payments until the appeals court rules on whether to issue a more lasting pause. Jackson handles emergency matters for Massachusetts, which is where this case originated, I suppose. What are we doing?
Why? Literally why? Like, I'm sorry, but like actually why? Like something like this, like are the stakes not like so high that I don't know, man. It just seems like why are you doing this?
Yeah, what are we doing?
I can't even like come up with a reason. I can't even come up. I can't fathom how much everything is just failing right now.
Yeah, no, it's actually fucking absurd. I have no idea why she did this. And now you might be saying, well, hold on a second. States have already begun paying out SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
Because the Trump administration was ordered, I believe, on like October 31st or something like that.
It was like a Sunday or a Friday or some shit.
You got to pay out. And so some states immediately moved to get those benefits. Because I think the way it works is essentially states send the data over to the federal government and the federal government sends back the funding and the states deal with dispersal, right? And so some states like Wisconsin, Oregon, Hawaii, New York, Colorado, Massachusetts, and North Carolina, among a couple of others, moved as quickly as possible to make full benefits available. Again, this is mostly like bureaucratic work. And what's the common denominator here? Democrat governors.
Shouts out.
Democrat governors absolutely locking in. So these states moved to essentially pay out the SNAP benefits that the court said you have to pay out before the Supreme Court came in and said something different. But from Politico, and this is where it gets a little wacky, quote, the Trump administration is telling states not to pay full November food stamps benefits, revising its previous guidance after winning a temporary victory at the Supreme Court on Friday. USDA's latest memo, sent Saturday to state directors of the supplemental, or SNAP, instructed states to deliver 65% of benefits during the government shutdown and required those who are already sent full benefits to claw back that money. Claw back that money.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What the actual fuck? These people hate you.
Claw back the money. So SNAP began paying out because the courts told them to.
Yeah.
States immediately moved to make this happen.
Because it's an issue of such high importance.
And then retroactively, the Trump administration said, well, we got this ruling we had been fighting for from the Supreme Court, or at least this pause, so give us the money back.
Yeah.
Literally take food out of the mouths of hungry children.
Give us the money back or there will be like legal consequences if you don't. Because that's what they also threatened.
And then, moreover, quote, the department threatened to take, the department threatened to take various actions if states don't comply, including canceling federal funds that go towards administrative costs for the program or holding states liable for, quote, over issuances. So legally liable, yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, like, no one should be able to go this hard against something like this and it be accepted in politics. This should be like political suicide.
Yeah, the Trump administration under the shutdown is doing literally everything possible to deny the deliverance of SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
Like Trump is publicly saying, oh, I would love to give SNAP benefits out. It's the Democrats that are making it so I can't give SNAP benefits out. And then behind the scenes, his lawyers are arguing in front of the Supreme Court that they shouldn't have to do it. And his administration is telling states, hey, don't pay out full benefits or we're going to sue you. What the fuck?
Once again, like the boldness here is absolutely insane. Like this is shit you're supposed to do in like lame duck. You know, like if you're going to do anything like this, you're supposed to save all the evil shit, all your evilest pardons for like lame duck. But Trump's not even saving that for that. They're just doing it because they feel like they can get away with anything. They genuinely feel like they have a mandate to do whatever they want.
Yeah, you win by 1.5% and suddenly you are God King Emperor.
Yeah. Okay. I guess.
Yeah, I genuinely can't believe it. Because, like, by all intents and purposes, if this shutdown were to continue, shout out my Democrats, the Trump administration would only benefit from SNAP paying out, right? Because it would ease up the pressure on Republicans to end the shutdown fight by conceding to Democrats, which obviously is sort of a null point at this point. But still, right, considering that, like, why are they fighting so hard to starve people? They just hate happiness.
Yeah, they hate you, dude. Yeah. The party of evil and despair.
Yeah, so that's SNAP, and that's the Trump administration trying to prevent the the sending out of food benefits. But there's also some other shit going on with the airlines.
Yeah, the airlines are in disarray. Well, we're in disarray, I guess.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like right in these segments before Democrats concede, make some of this just so nonsensical.
Exactly, it makes it just hard to talk about. But like honestly, preempt this segment here about the airlines. I wouldn't be surprised if there was at least like 2 centrist Democrats that were like, "Fuck, my flight got canceled. It's time to open this shit back up."
That's a median voter.
That's a median voter right there. That's a median voter position.
We've all been at the airport fucking pulling out our hair before because shit is so frustrating.
Yep.
That's a median voter position. So essentially the airlines and airports, absolute mess right now. Air traffic controllers have gone a full month without paychecks. That's 2 missed paychecks. And now, of course, as the holiday starts, flights and travel are going bananas and being majorly reduced. Sean Duffy, Transportation Secretary, announced that 10% of all commercial flights at 40 major airports around the country were going to be canceled under new FAA guidelines. Obviously, if the shutdown ends before they reach that 10% threshold, then like none of this really matters.
Yeah.
But the idea was that scaling up from I think 2% or 4% by like next Thursday or this Thursday, I should say, something like 10% of all commercial flights were going to be canceled.
It's insane.
It's literally thousands of cancellations every single day during the holiday period. Very, very bad. Duffy also alluded to the idea that cancellations could jump up to 20% by the end of the year. Rough, incredibly rough. In the Brookings Institute, I found this number just insane. Apparently, we're roughly 3,000 air traffic controllers short.
Oh my God.
3,000 across the country. What?
Those guys are already like way overworked too.
Yeah. Like what? How? You're telling me we're missing like critical people across the country?
The people that keep the planes in the sky and tell them when they can land?
Yeah.
That sounds like a very important job.
And again, I hope you can see the thread that like this episode was going to be about how Trump stole Christmas. Because like the air travel, food benefits, Thanksgiving coming up, this was going to be like, we were really going to go after him, guys.
Yeah.
It was gonna be great.
We were gonna get his ass.
Now we can't because of my fucking Democrats.
There was also some like shit about how like Walmart was saying that their Thanksgiving meal is like 20% lower now, and Trump took that as like this massive win. Haha, terror's working. Haha, everything's fine. Blah blah blah. When actually Walmart just removed a bunch of items from that and replaced the brand names with great value versions. Like, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
What a win.
This episode was gonna be a polemic against the Trump administration, but now
and we could have been like, my Democrats holding strong. Like, no, my Democrats came back.
My Democrats showed up for work, man, and they did their thing.
Yes, fucking absolutely absurd.
You know what one of my favorite activities is?
What?
Reading.
Oh, I love reading. I love literature.
And one of my favorite things to read are the reviews we get on Apple Podcasts.
Always.
Not only do I love to read them, but it's a really great way to support the show. If you want to help us out, go and leave a 5-star review on Apple. As always, we read them here on the show. And if you want to make me happy, if you want to become my non-parasocial friend,
that's right.
One step on the 1,000 steps that it takes to get there is to leave a 5-star review on Apple. We'd really appreciate it.
Just remember, my friendship, it's for sale. And
Precisely.
if you want to become one of my friends, you can go to the Patreon, or completely for free, you can leave a review on Apple. And even if you don't want to become my friend, don't you want to see another human smile?
Exactly. So consider leaving a review on Apple. It really helps out the show. It's a free way to do it. And you'll be one step closer to being a real friend of ours.
Exactly. Now with that, back to the episode. I don't even want to talk about anything else we were supposed to talk about. I feel like that's just the news, but there is one story that I do think is like pretty important, if not just interesting, and that's this fact that like in an incredibly predictable yet still insanely evil news, the FBI issued a warning that criminals have been impersonating ICE agents to do robberies, kidnappings, and sexual assaults.
Oh my God.
Damn near the most predictable fucking news in the world.
Yeah.
When you let ICE agents run around anonymously and do whatever they want, smash and grab wherever they want, of course bad actors are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, they get to wear face masks. They don't have their badges showing or anything like that.
They don't
like,
ever show warrants.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. They can profile anybody, stop you anywhere on the street. This is a situation that is ripe to be taken advantage of.
And sometimes they're just in plain clothes.
No, exactly. The dude in the Marvel t-shirt who pulled up to get Mahmoud Khalil or Amina Ozturk. Like, come on, man. Like, this has been ridiculous the entire time. But part of the FBI bulletin read, quote, due to the recent increase in ICE enforcement actions across the country, criminal actors are using ICE's enhanced public profile and media coverage to their advantage to target vulnerable communities and commit criminal activity. The FBI also went to urge agents to identify themselves during their operations, but they won't, because nobody in this administration cares about the truth.
Nobody gives a shit.
Initially, when I read this, I thought that like it was kind of interesting that we had like a call coming from inside the house. We had Kash Patel's FBI going out and saying like, hey, maybe ICE is doing something wrong. We had intra-administration battle going on. But that's not what this is. This is just like, I don't even know how to describe it. This is maybe just a flaccid attempt at doing any oversight whatsoever. It doesn't mean anything because Kristi Noem and Donald Trump and Stephen Miller will continue to allow ICE agents to walk around like the Gestapo, faces covered, absolutely zero accountability, full anonymity in everything that they do under this like guise of officer safety.
Yeah, no, I can see Stephen Miller making that exact argument. Like, oh, this is just a price for freeing America from the invasion. The storm is coming.
Exactly. Like, yeah, these bad actors may be doing this, but think of what an illegal immigrant would do to your white daughter.
Yeah,
like,
do you think that like Hitler would have given a shit if people impersonated a brown shirt?
No,
like,
literally.
It doesn't matter.
He's like, oh, the brown somebody impersonated a brown shirt and went and beat up some guy. That's what we do anyway.
In fact, they'd probably just hire him.
Exactly.
Probably be like, oh shit, you're qualified.
Probably a recruitment tactic.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, they're beating the shit out of people. That's what we do here. It's fucked up, man. And it's just like nobody cares about principled best like practices for law enforcement.
Oh, brother, come on now. Nobody gives a shit.
Nobody gives a shit about what actually makes society safer. They just care about hurting brown people. Like the cruelty is the point. The cruelty is the point with almost everything that this administration does. Once again, they're building their policy, they're building their messaging around the aesthetics of brutality. You can't take that away from them. They got nothing. They literally have nothing without the videos, the highlight reels, the edits that they post on official Twitter accounts of them going in Zero Dark 30 apartment buildings, beating up like civilians, going and ripping brown people out of school pickup lines. Like that's all that they have when it comes to this. They're not producing results. They're taking people who are here, albeit illegally, sure, whatever, but have done nothing wrong and violently sending them out of the country because they came up on the delusion that every brown person is here to kill white daughters.
Yeah. Or in some cases, just like taking people away, putting thousands of them into a concentration camp in the Everglades, and then just losing them.
Losing track of them.
And then 70% of them just disappear. I wonder where they went. Like, I mean, come on now. Like, what are we like you said, they have nothing else other than the aesthetics of violence, or just the, like literal instances of violence that they inflict onto brown people. Other than that, what is this administration?
And it's like, I think this is important to talk about because like we've been talking about how it's bad for ICE agents to be masked up, to be anonymous, to go through these things and not have to identify themselves, to be like the only law enforcement agency that like does that to like this scale at the very least. And we had talked about why that's bad for the reasons of like when you are anonymous, you go out and do things that you otherwise wouldn't do. It stops people from being able to hold you accountable. And that's more like, I guess, of a higher order reason why. That's more out there. This is the practical reason why ICE agents should not be allowed to remain anonymous. ICE agents should not be allowed to mask, not be allowed to walk around in plain clothes and do these things, because bad actors will take advantage of that climate. Bad actors will take advantage of the public safety that you eroded by having that be government policy.
I guess you should say worse actors, because ICE is already bad.
This is true. You will allow worse actors.
Relative to
it's
ICE.
all a relative scale, these bad actors and whatnot. But this is what happens when you allow what has become the most violent domestic arm of the government to do this, to act in this way. It's fucked up and it's stupid and it's wrong and we shouldn't let it happen.
I think it's bad. I think we should stand on business and say like, hey, stop.
Type.
And I think Biden and Obama should not have increased ICE funding under their administrations.
And then bragged about it.
Hot take.
And then Loki campaigned on doing it again. That sucks. To finish this off, I do have a quote from a senior ICE official that told Wired, quote, anyone caught impersonating themselves as an anyone caught impersonating themselves as a federal immigration agent will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Impersonating a federal immigration officer endangers public safety and erodes trust in law enforcement. I think that's funny because I would argue that what really erodes trust in law enforcement is walking around in plain clothes and unmarked vehicles and then stopping in the middle of traffic because you saw a brown guy driving a car. I think that's the principle, like the actual driver of why people don't have trust going on right now. I think that's the driver of whatever this erosion of the public trust may be. Like, I think that's the first order issue here rather than the second order big issue, albeit, of people impersonating ICE officers to do awful things.
Yeah, I wonder if public trust was eroded at all when you showed up with a fucking helicopter outside outside an apartment building in Chicago. Like, I wonder if that's why people don't fuck with you guys. I wonder if it's because you've been like, I don't know, zip tying kids.
Exactly. I wonder if it's because people don't like you because you pull up in plain clothes and handcuff somebody who wrote op-ed. A college op-ed, not even like an op-ed in a real paper.
Yeah, not even one that like inspired anything.
Exactly.
Because it got like 25 reads, you know what I mean?
Something that somebody wrote and 2 people read, and they were editors they were friends with. Like, come on, man. It's also fucking stupid. Everything sucks hugely.
Yeah, no, it's not great. Fucking but shout out ICE.
Shout out my Democrats.
My Democrats. I guess there's a couple extras here. It feels like these just don't matter at this point. Yeah. One thing that's good, and one story that was going to make a full segment was the Supreme Court potentially hearing a case on same-sex marriage. Luckily, though, one piece of good news this week, the Supreme Court rejected hearing that case.
Oh, they did
rejected it outright. There wasn't even like an opinion attached to the rejection. They just said no.
Okay, that's gas. It was funny, like somebody who'd been like, I think I had seen people say like, the lady who brought it up had been divorced multiple times, but she's talking about like the sanctity of marriage. Like, awesome. Yeah, come on now. You can't really do that.
The case was, you all might remember Kim Davis, I believe from Kentucky. She used to be like a sort of focal point for this fight.
Yeah.
She was, I believe, held contempt of court or something like that because she was refusing to issue marriage licenses, even though, of course, Obergefell said that every state has to issue marriage licenses regardless of what like the composition of the marriage is. And then she fought to take this up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court just said no.
No, that's good. Shout out.
Because like think about it, like what would it even mean if they decided like, hey, same-sex marriage like is legal, states do have to do it, but you can say that you don't want to if you're like a state worker or a county worker. Like what does that mean?
Like I feel like once you get a job with the government who has to separate like church and state, at least ostensibly, you kind of have to leave that personal opinion aside or just don't get a job with the government. Like sorry.
Yeah. But thankfully, the court is not hearing it this time. Who knows, maybe in the future they'll consider overturning Obergefell. I will note that Obergefell in 2015, it's only 10 years old.
Insane, by the way.
It was a 5-4 decision back then. And 3 of the 4 are still on the court. So we know how this is going to go if it ever gets there. Thankfully, this time, same-sex marriage does stay intact. So that was going to be one of the stories. It is now just an aside at the end here.
That's good. While we are talking about divorce, I think it's important to talk about the most divorced man on the planet, and that's Elon Musk. One, this is an aside. This wasn't really what I wanted to talk about, but I did think about it because we tweeted about it, like I believe yesterday. Elon Musk, now there's like a feature on Grok's AI where you can like hold a picture and make it do an AI thing. And when he was promoting this feature, he had like some AI generated picture of like a brunette woman or whatever. And he had it say, "I will always love you."
Oh, God, dude.
They're calling it the most divorced post ever.
Oh, like, that sucks.
That's so fucking embarrassing, man.
God, man. AI is already a scourge on humanity, but Jesus
it's like
Christ.
It's just sad, right? Like I feel like in 5 years we're gonna have news. Honestly, in like 2 years or maybe even 6 months, we're gonna have news articles that are coming out about how lonely teenagers are fucking robots and they're just in relationships with their AI chatbots. I've already seen it a couple times. That's gonna be an epidemic, dude. But that's a story for another day.
There's already an article like once a month that's like this teen is now mentally ill because of their ChatGPT girlfriend.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, part of it, it's like extremely sad, but it's also like, what the fuck? Just turn off the computer, man.
No, I'm saying, and it's like
you gotta turn it off.
Part of the male loneliness thing, and it's like I don't know. I feel like I'm a bit more sympathetic to the male loneliness epidemic stuff than like a lot of people on the left are. Not for like any manosphere reasons or whatnot. I think men put themselves there. I think the male loneliness epidemic is probably just like one of those things where it's like the patriarchy also oppresses men, and it's just downstream of that. But it's like when you do see the AI relationship stuff, it's like, man, like you're not helping your case here. Like I think
not beating the allegations.
Oh,
You're
man,
not beating the allegations.
That's crazy, dog. That's sad, and you should get some help. But why I did want to bring up Musk initially was because I think this week a $1 trillion pay package was just approved for him.
Oh.
And that just sucks.
Yeah.
Like, that is just horrible. Not anything that should ever realistically happen.
I mean, think about it. Congress has been fighting for the past month and a half or so over if they can give you some subsidies for your healthcare premiums. And this dude, Elon Musk, is about to be a trillionaire.
Yeah. A
What?
$1 trillion pay package over the next like X amount of years.
Like, I already think billionaires shouldn't exist, but you're telling me a trillionaire is going to exist?
Yeah.
What?
Like, guys, what are we doing?
A billion. The difference between the classic saying is that the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is $1 billion, right? Because $1 million is just not comparable to $1 billion. A trillionaire?
A trillionaire?
Like, what are we? I'm sorry. It's just, it's like Gilded Age, end of an empire type stuff. A crash is coming. I don't know what to do.
It's like $1 trillion. Like, I get that he's not just getting $1 trillion tomorrow. It's whatever over however many years the pay package is for, but it's overall valued at $1 trillion.
Yeah.
1 trillion is an incomprehensible number.
Mm-hmm.
1 million is already like a borderline incomprehensible number, just like when we're thinking about scale as people who are bad at estimating scale. 1 billion is another level above that. 1 trillion?
Trillion.
Trillion?
Yeah, more money than like ever before.
That
what are we
sucks
doing?
horribly.
Yeah.
That's like a seventh of the federal budget.
Meanwhile, like, he doesn't do anything.
He's just like a celebrity that owns companies,
Like,
basically.
I don't think anybody would be justified in getting $1 trillion, obviously, especially while so many people throughout all of society are suffering just in this country alone. But I mean, you look around the world. But Elon Musk especially doesn't do anything. Mm-hmm. He's not an engineer. He doesn't know shit about making the car. Mm-hmm. He runs a social media site that is full of Nazis. What is this dude doing that's worth $1 trillion?
Yeah.
$1 trillion?
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels like pointless to say it, but like, obviously this is stupid.
This is stupid, and it's really bad, and it sucks awfully.
Another sign of the times, right? So on one hand, you got Musk, $1 trillion.
Yeah, the rich.
On the other hand, Trump is saying 50-year mortgage.
Come on, man.
So Elon Musk is going to make $1 trillion, and you, dear listener, can maybe get a house if you do a 50-year mortgage.
That's crazy. Somehow, imagine somehow you buy a house at 20. You're telling me you don't pay that off till you're 70 years old?
And it's like you're not buying a house at 20.
Exactly.
Like, you can't even make the down payment. You know what I mean?
We can't be doing that. And it's like, I don't know, I'm not like super economics pilled. I can't like think of like actual like blah blah blah, would this actually be bad or not. It just sounds like one of those things where it's like, let's actually fix the issue and not just it feels like kicking the can down the road and
Fuck
just
it,
like
200-year mortgage. Who cares? Make my kid take up the mortgage after I die. Fuck it.
Exactly. Fuck it. Bank owns every house.
It's like 50-year mortgage. By the end of that, if you even make it, you're paying like 400% the principal. What's the point?
Yeah, no, that's got to be genuinely like insane.
What, you're paying like maybe like what, $20 on the actual principal each time you pay your house payment? Like what are we doing?
And I
man?
had seen some analysis talking about how like, oh, this will lower like the mortgage, like compared to a 30-year mortgage, this would be lowered by like X $100 on your monthly payment over the 50-year span. And it's like, that's still not the problem. Like, the problem is not the monthly payment on a mortgage. The problem is the down payment.
Yeah. Well,
like,
and the interest.
Yeah, like
on top of that.
I wouldn't even argue that interest is what's barring people from buying homes. It's the down payment is what's stopping me from getting a home. My cousin and other people that I know, like homeowners that I know that are older than me, obviously, because who do I know this age that owns a house, pay less on their mortgages than I do for my rent. And it's like now I'm moving to Metro Detroit and my rent's getting even higher than what their mortgage is. Mm-hmm. I know somebody, like obviously adults, that bought a house in like 2000 that are going to be paying half of my monthly rent in their mortgage. And they got crazy. Like a whole ass house in a nice ass neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I will have like an apartment.
You will own nothing and you'll be happy.
Exactly. And now they want to entice me with a 50-year mortgage that I still won't even be able to get because I need a down payment. Sure, maybe a down payment can be lower on a 50-year mortgage, but then you're just fucking yourself over more in the long run. Like, it just, none of this actually solves the idea that like maybe a house is just unaffordable and maybe some property value should have to sink so that like the next generation can get their foot in the door.
Or maybe we can just like redistribute some of that trillion that Elon Musk is about to get.
Yeah, for real.
I did see I think it was Fox News was trying to do like a favorable comparison, and they took FDR's 30-year mortgage, right? That happened under FDR, and then next to him was a picture of Trump, and it said 50-year mortgage. And it's like, in what world is this supposed to look good for Donald Trump? Like,
it's like 50? It's like 30 is already, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like 30 is already a lot. Like, it's That sucks, man.
20 is already a lot.
20 is a lot.
I feel like 20 is the number I hear the most, like a 20-year mortgage, right?
What do you mean I'm paying down something for 30 years? Like, I usually hear 30 and like 15. And it's like people usually say, like, take the 30. Like, if you're thinking about taking a 15-year mortgage, take the 30 and just pay it down twice as much as if you had a 15-year mortgage. So you have that flexibility to actually maintain a place if you're falling on hard times or whatever. But it's just like, that's all like a lot. And just because houses are so expensive.
Yeah.
Everything is so expensive and it sucks so bad. And things continue to get more expensive. We got this whole tariff on, tariff off situation.
Tariff on, man.
Tariff on, tariff off. And Trump was coming on this week, and he's been talking about this for a while. He was talking about giving every American a $2,000 tariff dividend because we've been winning so bigly and blah, blah, blah. The radical left is telling you that tariffs are, you're paying all these tariffs. Let's give you some money back. And it's just like,
we paid the tariff initially.
That's
just
my money.
Our money, yeah.
That's my money, and I could have more if you didn't do this whole song and dance in the first place.
Also, wouldn't that require the tariffs to raise like what, 500 billion? To even make this like a feasible thing that you could do?
Maybe.
Like, I don't know exactly what the numbers would be. I'm trying to think of like the number of adults in the U.S. that would be eligible to receive this money, but it's like...
It's also like entirely fake. Like, this is not happening. And if it does happen, it's my money anyway. Like, and it's more so my money than when people were talking about COVID checks and they're like, my tax dollars are coming back to me. That's fine. Because it's like... That's annoying when people talk about their tax dollars as money. These aren't your tax dollars. Yes, a tariff is a tax, but it's like, this is a wholly unnecessary
This is what you were
tax.
Charged because the company...
You were charged because they just wanted to. Because Trump just wanted to.
Yeah, because companies shifted prices on TV. Yeah, no, that's just our money, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah, that sucks hugely. But you're not getting it.
I was going to say, it's just not going to happen. Also, it's like, that's going to cover, what, 1 month of your new premium? If you buy through the ACA marketplace, like, none of this matters, dude. We're in bizarro world. $2,000 is fucking nothing.
And it's like, where are all the buy your vote people? Where are all the people who are like, Joe Biden is trying to buy your vote by curing the student debt crisis when Donald Trump is like, $2,000 for everybody, no matter what, keep voting for me. Come on, man. Everything is fake. Nothing is real. And it's like, I just have disdain for people like consultant types who continue to engage with politics right now as if it's this West Wing game of convincing people and saying the right words to get people on your side, to motivate people to get to the polls. No, it's a game of vibes. It's vibes and aura. That's all politics is right now. Well, and that's all that's motivating people to get to the polls, it feels like.
I still see some people that are like, I fuck with Trump because I got the stimulus check from him in 2020.
Yeah.
Like, because like that's a real thing. Because it's like, turns out when a politician's like, I'm just going to give you money, people fuck with that.
And it also like, it ties back to that thing we were talking about in the beginning about how like you need to do the material benefit, but you also need to connect it to like yourself and your messaging. Donald Trump put his name on the check.
Oh yeah, he signed it, dude.
And I get that that's supposed to be like taboo for a politician, but low-key, that's revolutionary.
That's
groundbreaking.
He clouted himself.
And that's what you should be doing. You should clout yourself on good policies because good things are good and bad things are bad, and you need to have people be aware of that.
Yeah. Speaking of bad things being bad, Kathy Hochul, man.
Yeah, man.
Shout out my kind of Democrat, dude. This is my kind of Democrat, actively tanking Zoran's policies before he even gets a chance to implement them.
Yes, dude. Zoran, free and fair bus. Kathy Hochul, no.
Yeah.
Just straight up no. She just said she's not going to do that.
And she also said she doesn't want to raise taxes. She keeps being, anytime she does a press conference, like in front of an audience, she's met with chants of like tax the rich.
Yeah.
This has happened multiple times at this point. Then recently she did one and they were chanting tax the rich. And she said, I hear you, but if you keep asking, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, she's like, I'm the kind of person that the more you push me, the more I'm not going to do something. It's like, you're an elected representative. That's actually literally your job, is to do things that the people push you to do. Like, I'm sorry, you're not just like a girl with an opinion. Like, you're not just somebody that can just be out there and be like, yeah, no, I'm just the kind of person, like, you can't convince me on anything. It's like,
she's acting like my mom when I was 8 and I wanted McDonald's.
No, literally. Exactly.
Like, people are asking you to raise taxes to pay for like a program they depend on or to make life easier for them. And you're saying like, well, you keep asking, I'm not going to do it. What? What?
You just need to shut up and not voice your concerns and just let me do whatever I wanted with my seat of power that you put me in. Public servants need to start acting like public servants again.
Yeah, you're supposed to be beneath us.
No, literally, these people need to start like fucking kissing my boots.
You work for me, man. Yes. We fucking pay you with our tax dollars. Yes. Your salary is our money.
I don't understand what it is with these people going out there and being like loudly wrong and loudly obtuse and not responsive to voters. You know who hasn't been that way? Somebody who I don't give props to like ever, and I'm gonna probably regret doing this in the future, but Alyssa Slotkin.
Oh my God.
Alyssa Slotkin was on the list of Democrats that were likely to vote to reopen the government, and she didn't.
Yeah.
Shouts out her for that one thing specifically.
Yeah, no, I'll shout her out. Gary Peters was also on the list and he didn't vote for it. Doesn't matter as much for him because he's retiring.
Yeah.
But
well, if anything, he probably would have since he's retiring, since you can just fucking do whatever you want.
Alyssa Slotkin did the bare minimum. Shout out Alyssa Slotkin.
Yeah, shouts out you. I don't know. It seems like maybe she's starting to get better political instincts. It seems like she's like a step behind Mallory McMorrow on taking positions that are popular despite not thinking them. That's kind of where I feel like she's going.
I wonder if the Breaking Points interview was like a turning point for her.
I think it might have been. I feel like I noticed after that she's gotten better video on social media too. She's doing like more things. That
yeah,
are,
I
like,
do
optimized.
hate when she puts out a banger.
No,
I do hate it.
Because unfortunately sometimes she does. Like when she's not talking about foreign policy and she is talking about kitchen table issues, like I don't know, maybe like 60% of the time I see it and I'm like,
yeah, but it's like
to give it to you.
It's Pete Buttigieg type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're talking about an issue that's good in the context of a Trump administration, but when push comes to shove, I know you'll tank universal health care.
Yeah.
like I know when the critical moment comes, you will be the one thumbs down that tanks the deal.
You might be my Maggie Hassan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. We've just yet to see it yet. But at least for now, I guess fucking shouts out you. Come on the show so I can grill you.
Yeah. Open invitation to Senator Alyssa Slotkin. We're your constituents after all.
We advocated for people reluctantly to vote for you.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of this episode today. We got to get the fuck out of here, man. It's been a rough one.
Yeah, everything sucks really bad, except for these Spotify reviews.
It didn't have to be this way, man. We get shit on so much. We've been getting shit on more than like at any point in this podcast for our anger with the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And this episode was going to be all about how Trump is fucking this up and how he's going to ruin the holidays. And then my Democrat showed up to work and made me talk about how much I hate the party
and
again.
we're vindicated once again.
It's like every like few weeks, I am reminded that my sole purpose as a fucking political commentator should just be to dismantle the Democratic Party from within. Yeah. Because these people are useless.
They just constantly do things that make me upset with them.
It doesn't have to be this way, man. We didn't need to cave. They were on a hot streak. They were doing well. I was a doubter at first. When the shutdown started, I thought like they're not going to be able to hang on for very long. They need to make this about more than just healthcare. They strategically outplayed me.
Yeah.
And I gave that to them. I said, shout out Hakeem Jeffries, you're on message.
Well, it's like the moment
just for my Democrats to show up.
The moment that they won bigly and that Trump admitted they won because of the shutdown and they had the most momentum is the moment that I finally dropped my guard. Like after the elections, I finally dropped my guard about whether or not they would cave and reopen the government. Only to be met with Sunday night just opening up Twitter, Democrats cave.
Man,
what?
They turned me into a believer for a minute there. They turned me into a believer. I thought, okay, this party is on the comeback. I get there's a lot of conflict within the party about people like Zoran and progressivism and stuff, but like at least we're aligned on this.
Yeah.
And then my Democrats clocked in. They punched the clock. They clocked in. And they said, let's get to work. I'm undermining everything that the party has worked to achieve so far this year.
The emotions yesterday were high, to say the least, because like I'm watching the Lions game and the Lions are winning and it's great.
Oh, bigly.
And it's great and I'm high from that. And then St. Brown gets a touchdown and hits the fucking Trump dance?
He don't got internet.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm telling you right now, when I saw that, I'm thinking, I am tuning into the St. Brown podcast this week and hoping that he says he was mocking Trump. I'm coping about it. Because it's like he knows that before the season started, I was looking at a Branch jersey, a Hutchinson jersey, or a St. Brown jersey, and he's like, let me make this decision easier for you.
It's Brian Branch all the way, right?
It's low-key gotta be Brian Branch. It's Brian Branch or Hutchinson just because they're cool, but I fuck with Branch so much, and honestly, the punch isn't disqualifying for me. It's Juju's, like the punch isn't disqualifying. But then it's like that happened. I'm like, fuck, that's ridiculous. And then I get back into the game. I'm enjoying it. We're killing it. Dan Campbell's on the play call.
Scoring every drive.
Scoring every single drive. Dan Campbell's got his fucking glasses on and we're going crazy. We're giving the ball to Jameson Williams. Things are rolling. Everything looks electric like it's supposed to.
J-Mo's doing anything other than just sprinting straight down the field.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
The beauty of a Dan Campbell play call, maybe it's low-key fire John Morton, but I don't know yet. We'll see next week when we're actually tested. But that happens. And then you get to the third quarter. You get to the third fucking quarter. Trump on the fucking broadcast, man. And then you get Trump on the broadcast, and it's like, what happened to getting politics out of sports? Because the thing about that is it's like, when the Colin Kaepernick stuff and the Black Lives Matter stuff was happening, correct me if I'm wrong, but was that not mostly like off the field stuff and like kneeling during the national anthem?
He kneeled during the anthem, yeah.
You don't fucking see the anthem on TV. You don't have to watch the protest stuff. You like it was. Was it not separate? I wasn't like a ball knower back then. Like, I wasn't watching games every week like I am now, but it wasn't during the game, was it?
No, it wasn't during the game. It was during the national anthem. In fact, Kaepernick, I think, talked to either his teammates or people on other teams. Another footballer that he knew that was like a veteran. Yeah. And he said, what's like the most respectful way I could protest during the national anthem? And they came up with kneeling. And it got a lot of people's attention. And that's where keep politics out of sports like spawned from. And now we got fucking Trump on the mic.
Like, that was something that happened outside the game. This is the fucking third quarter. The Commanders are driving down the field in, like, one of their best drives, one of their only really drives, like, the entire night. It's fucking, like, 4th and short, and they're going for it in the red zone, and I can't fucking hear anything because Trump is on the broadcast and like, hey, Trump, you played football, didn't you? And then they put up a fucking picture of him. Yeah. And then there's a fucking penalty. There was a penalty that got down, and I think it was, like, Rocky Sin was going crazy, smacking his helmet, like, what the fuck just happened? I didn't do that, blah, 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 blah. And do you know what the penalty was? I don't. They didn't fucking talk about the penalty because Trump was on the broadcast. And then they let this motherfucker call a play. Oh my God, get politics out of sports. I'm just trying to watch a football game.
Jesus
I'm trying to watch my Lions. Oh my God.
Anyways, that brings us to the end of this episode. What a bad fucking turn of events, man.
Yeah.
Everything could have been different. It didn't have to be this way. I was riding the high from the Zoran Momdilian votes.
Yes.
Just for my Democrats to turn their back on me once again, as they always do.
Just for my Democrats.
And that's what we mean when we say our Democrats, man. Our Democrats.
These are the Democrats that will not allow the filibuster to go away. Because if the filibuster goes away, they couldn't stop progress.
Exactly. Well, what else would they have to blame?
How would I stand in the way if the filibuster doesn't run cover for me?
Exactly. How can I'll have nothing to blame for the lack of progress if the filibuster's not there.
But if the filibuster was gone, I couldn't gain attention for being annoying and awful.
I think Republicans, honestly, at this point, fuck it. Republicans should just get rid of the filibuster for fun. They don't even need to anymore. They got exactly what they want. Low-key, they don't need to pass any more legislation. All the priorities are done at this point. But they should say fuck it and just nuke the filibuster just for fun.
No, for real, because like, what else do they have to do these next like 3 years?
Yeah.
Continue to dismantle these programs? At this point, Democrats will just let them.
Yeah, and like nothing, it doesn't matter anyway. Trump will do it on his own.
Yeah.
Even if it's illegal, who cares?
And the only thing that he like won't like, and it still just baffles the mind that legality has not stopped him from doing anything except funding SNAP benefits when it's still like legal to do so. When you've been ordered to do so. He's actually fighting to be like, no, that one's against the law. Not anything else, but fuck it. It's Spotify review time.
Yeah.
And this first one from CJ, inshallah, fellow white boys, second time reviewer here, 1 Momdilian out of 5 stars. Let me start things off smooth with political violence condemned and Hamas obliterated. Oh man. Woke is alive, people. We are simply blessed to have Hiddo acting as our divine oracle to bless our ears with their glorious communist gospel. If this was the blue wave, 2026 will be a cobalt-colored Atlantis led by none other than Zoran Mamdani. Remain calm, patriots are in control. Exactly,
so
precisely.
So
and Fed's watching.
This is, Fed's again, a reminder on these reviews, people.
Guys, Fed's watching.
Fed's watching permanently.
Fed's watching permanently.
And Feds are about to be getting paid again.
Cash Patel probably got a tap on my computer.
Somebody probably got one of those coins for tapping our computer.
Oh, true.
So, next one from James Powers, 540, 5.5 out of 5 stars. The extra half a star is for your tip for exceptional news services.
Let's go.
Proud Friday freeloader from rural New Mexico. Found you guys back in September and have converted 2 coworkers into Hiddo heads by telling them how truly funny and sauced up the Quirk White Boys the Quark White Boy hosts of the spectacular tertiary news podcast are. Sadly, I could not vote for Mr. Mamdani, but I still voted for important county board positions in municipal bonds to better fund our local schools.
Let's go. And those are important. Those local elections are important, man. Right. Shouts out to you and shouts out to your coworkers. This next one from Esteban Canteras. Yeah, that's how you say that, hopefully. This is my second review. Damn it, Midwest white boys, these guys still got it going on. To the people with foot fetishes, these guys will leave you hanging on the edge by teasing their sock game. 69 out of 5 stars. May this blue wave continue to flood the zones without the aid of FEMA coming to the rescue. May the Lord Almighty keep these floods. Pray for us, O St. Jeremy and Most Holy Gage. May this momentum thrive and carry us to 2026. Trump is shivering in his made in China shoes. I can condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence. That review was written 3 days ago. I hope you weren't too devastated by the absolute just stop in all momentum we had.
This next one from Ian Wolf. Mom Goaty is in and communism is back with a vengeance. My boys in the office are killing it with their coverage of real life events. You guys have been my favorite tertiary news source since before. In the beginning of another record breaking shutdown from dump in the office and working in healthcare with bullets flying from inflatable animals in Oregon. I see the protesters. The one great relief is hearing you boys hearing you boys tear into idiotic politicians. Keep up the good work, guys, and maybe I'll get on the Patreon. Maybe
huge on that. Yeah. Whoa. Nah.
Maybe. Why is it even up for discussion?
Maybe, definitely. Maybe condemnably. Oh my goodness, man. This next review from Not Me. 1 Momdillion stars out of 5 for these Midwestern white boys over here. Found the podcast on Instagram Reels on the lead up to the election. Shout out that one Trump ad where he says the Third Reich is risen, and have been following since. It's so refreshing as an immigrant to see white people that don't want to send me and my people into concentration camps. These boys got all the sauce, and their takes are all unequivocally, objectively correct and NSPM 7 compliant. Lastly, I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence and all that.
Real. Last one here from Lucas Eng, 5 out of 5 stars. Pockets down. Snap down. Cheney, I condemn Hamas and all forms of political violence. Hit up a Momdillion.
Let's go,
Shout
baby.
out these 2 white boys for keeping it real, and I condemn Hamas, political violence, and Justice Catan for living out in the worst possible way.
True. Oh, what an
Catan.
Accurate description.
Yeah.
Living out in the worst possible way, and that she did.
Yeah, man, we were living out a little bit after the elections, but the live out fest is over.
Yeah, no, they stopped. They reminded me why I don't.
Yeah.
They couldn't help themselves but to do that. And with that,
yes,
it's time to get to the people, the donors that keep us around, the donors that help us circulate our ideas to the people and keep the lights on in this studio.
That's right.
And that starts with Caden Kraut, Chris the Postman, Chrissy Beck, Mike Chaplinsky, Clayton the Fed, Mark Yeager, Caleb Joy, Rich Toro, Tari, Fruggalaki, Max Vasquez, Jacob Rogers, Colton Blueberry, Fixer Pug, Jim Egbers, Big Burrito, Cincy Alex, Joe Stenstrom, Adrian Sandoval, Chloe Sam 601, Colleen Cutts, Jennifer DeVoe, Crawfish, Benny Pennington III, Alexia Benanti, Big Booty Beatdown, Sam Maloney, Ted Cruz's Boy Toy, Dictator Jace, Luke O'Shea, Carker Tarleson, Danielle Jackson, The Word of Microsoft, Jennifer Science, Aaron and his Gundams, Darth Father, Tailored for Content, Corey Chambers, Retro Mondo, Veronica, a.k.a. V, Raxon, Ass Smith, The Grotler, Murder in a Trench Coat, Casey Lynn Kelly, A.K. Ghana, Guana Don, Zach Lantian, Austin Greif, Marcus Corbett, Caleb Roper, Taylor Rensock, Cammie, Tylen Freeman, Isaac Hodges, Madeline C., Anna Valinic, Casey C., Say Yes to Wes, August Particular Pickman, Sir Capelot, Jeff Sines, Brendan is Egg, Froggy Gumdrop, Jackie Boy, Shameless, Coherent Babbles, MJ is Sharp, Michaela Muncie, The Wallace 3000,
Chris T., Kishan Lala, Amanda R., Tyler J., Particulon Memfrez, Rhonda Stiletto, Midwest Marxists, Joe the Mailman, Gary from West Michigan, Shawnee G.G., Juniper Not Jupiter, Stacked Crabs, I Crowley, Urban Peach, Lord of Lauren, Holt Forsyth, Booty Snakes, Dew Fairy, Chelceratops, Austin Lima, Lane Waltz, Azim Fida Hussein, Gorgeous Girl Mukes, Brooklyn G, Noverk the Dastardly, Goldthorn, Addie Book, Merlin, Cryo Bongi, Sergeant Pookie, Hoodie, Kim Kitsuragi, Rose Grimm, Kristen, Jamie the Young Extremist, Jack the Heathen, Archer W, Evan Mingo, AJ Torres, Elo Nico, Jake Hall, Seth Schmidt, Noah Sajas, Majawat, Ultra the Dragon, Mercy Boku, Dick Cheney and 6-inch Heels. Dick Cheney and 6-inch Heels, wow.
Whoa.
Wow. Luke Wechter. Wow. Henry Kraggles, Tristan Rinksmith, Yaya, Asur the Atheist, Aiden Reese, Deep State Agent, Puddle Pirate, Southern Lefty, Lork 61, KC, Cannon Man, Troy H, Quark Muffalo, Nahan San Diego, Nut Mode, Nick from New Haven, Connor Nick, Sound Logic, Sleven, I Have Never Made a Woman Orgasm, John from Houston, Jordino, Haley Weibold, Pablo Vasquez, Nurse Jen, Soul DJ, Maple Big Dog, CIA, Small Creators Fund, Taylor from Burtdown, Minneapolis, Northeast Nick, Aya, Retired AF and SC, YK Cool and Whiffer G, Gayest Worm,
Real,
Niles Chamberlain, and my mom. Thank you all so much for supporting the show on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you.
We would not be here.
Consider becoming a patron.
Consider becoming a patron, and maybe one day we can be big enough to actually put pressure on people like Dick Durbin.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That would be cool if I could be single-handedly responsible for changing the positions of the political elite in this country.
Exactly, but I don't know. They are spawned from the devil.
But maybe for now, we'll have to settle for writing strongly worded Substack.
Huge.
That's all we got right now. Consider subscribing to the Substack, and thanks for listening.
Have a great one.